Hello, beautiful, vibrant souls. I am so glad that this video has crossed your timeline today. We're going to pull some cards for the collective as we do most days. I definitely took some time off from the exhaustion of living real life and had nothing to do with you at all. If you are looking for personal in-depth guidance, I would love to hear from you. I am more than happy to accommodate your budget on a sliding scale, and we will do some really in-depth dive stuff. But for now, let's focus on these three cards. I just pulled this card in a reading earlier today. The Three of Swords is about our subjective self-punishment, the concept of expectations, of dealing with disappointment, of dealing with a sense of overwhelming sadness when situations occur and feeling as if they're out of our control. The consequences of holding certain ideals of expectations out without recognizing the free will and without recognizing the way that things play out. There's more factors than just what you've considered. The universe is very complex, and it's not going to dumb itself down for anyone, no offense. Not that we are dumb, but that the universe is not going to simplify itself so that you can understand it better. These are extremely complicated equations of how things play out. So when we talk about expectations, we talk about this idea that A plus, B equals C. No, there are other variables in play here, and what those other variables are and when they show up and how they show up are going to determine the outcome of the situation, because each individual in this world has some level of free will at the very least. And so what we're experiencing is when we think something's going to end up in a certain way and it doesn't, it feels very bad. This is your reaction to the situation. It's valid. I don't want to take away that from you. I don't want you to be like, oh, I'm not supposed to feel that way. Oh, yeah, no, you absolutely can feel that way. And you're probably gonna. And this isn't the only time, unfortunately. We're gonna feel that way sometimes. We're gonna feel bad. Something's gonna turn out and it's gonna let us down. It's gonna make us sad. Does that mean that what you wanted was impossible? No, that has nothing to do with this side versus what happened. What you're seeing is the consequences of these delicate equations working out and realizing that there was a factor in there that wasn't in perfect alignment with you. This happens. So, what do we do about that? How do we deal with it? Accept it. It just is. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have feelings about it. You absolutely should. You should feel all kinds of ways about it. And you should get all of those feelings out. You should be mad. You can cry. You can throw things. You can have 3 days where you don't crawl out of bed. These are the consequences of living a human existence. We are conscious in life, and it is a beautiful thing that we have feelings, that we have desires and wants and things to pan out a certain way. Absolutely. But we can't let everything be determined on that one thing. We have to say, yeah, that didn't work out. But there's a lot else, a lot more out here for me. There's so much. There's so much Two of Cups. There are so many people that love you and care about you, even on the days that you feel like they don't, especially on the days that you feel like they don't. That's the most important time, I think, for us to reach out and get that validation. Because when we don't need it, we kind of take it for granted. Like, oh my God, you're so great. And like, yeah. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad that you're here. Yeah, me too. But it's the days that we feel empty and neglected and we feel like people don't notice us and they just won't notice when we're not there anymore. that we need to say, hi, um, I'm struggling right now. I feel really bad. And I'm trying really hard not to sink into that feeling. I just need a few people to just say the things that you say, because it helps me so greatly to know that I exist in a world where I am valued by even just a few people. I don't need everyone to feel that way about me, but just like, one or two who really, really, really vibe with me, who really feel that way. And that is our decision to look at things in a different way. It's our choice to pull ourselves out of that muck and feel really good and just really be like, oh, thank you, because I needed to be reminded. It is a choice every day when we wake up to decide how we feel. And of course, it's the consequences of the things going on in our life. We're going to feel stuff. But if we choose to hide away from the feelings, or we choose to not acknowledge the feelings or not reach out, can we blame anybody for not having the opportunity to help us? They can't read your mind. So this is about deciding that this is what you want in your life, that you want to feel good, that you want to be loved, that you want to connect and network with other people, that you want to experience the kind of connection that makes you feel valued all the time, and that makes you not feel ashamed when you have to ask for help, when you reach out and ask for validation, when you ask for a hug. Nobody should make you feel bad for that. And this is the conscious choice and the decision to say, this is what I need right now. So with our Four of Swords, this is about another sense of acceptance. This is that reality of sometimes things are not great and sometimes things are over the top amazing. And the compromise here is recognizing that I am human and I am going to have this wide, broad range of experiences. And it's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to sometimes be raging at the world. It's okay to sometimes want to cry and hide. It's okay to sometimes be so over the top happy and full of life and love that it's sickening to some people. All of those things are valid. Your experience is the experience that you're having. What's important is that we just recognize each aspect of this and just accept it for what it is. We can have all these things and still enjoy life and still have a good life and still love and still have hope and think positively about the future. So we're talking here about just kind of, it's truce. It's truce with the world. Like, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm gonna keep playing the game. We're not gonna be at war. I'm not gonna fight my existence. I'm gonna welcome it. I'm gonna accept it for all that it has to offer, exactly the way it is. And I'm gonna be okay with me for that too. Whether I'm on my high or on my low or somewhere in the middle, I still know who I am, and that's okay. That's a good thing. I love that about me. I love that about you. That's okay. We're gonna get through it. This is such a heavy card for the second pull, but I do think that this card, just like in the tarot deck, this oracle card reflects upon the completion of cycles. So if you've been experiencing some hardship, if you've been experiencing a lot of difficulties, if your emotions have just been tanked, if you've been just at your wit's end, you feel like you don't have any more left and you've just been completely run out, yeah, that's the end of that cycle. Some of the cycles that we experience in life are very short. Sometimes it's just that moon cycle, that even in the hormonal sense, we all go through our hormonal reproductive cycles, right? Those are on a much shorter situation. Some of us go through cycles quarterly in phases of things that are happening. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's half a year, sometimes it's a year. We celebrate all of these cycles in different ways, and we acknowledge them as a human species. We acknowledge, and we even in some cultures celebrate these different beginning and endings of cycles in different ways. So we acknowledge the completion of the cycle of being a child into adolescence, from adolescence into what we consider real adulthood, where things start to occur from adulthood into our elderly years, and then from our elderly years into passing through the end of this phase of existence into that next layer of consciousness. However, we see that happening. Some cultures celebrate it. Some cultures, of course, are a little bit more afraid of it. We acknowledge it in different kinds of ways. But all of these different cycles are valid, and they're all very much affecting our daily life, and even on a broader scale, the entirety of our life. So when these cards come up, what it's talking about is that in some way, shape, or form, you're experiencing the completion of a cycle. Either it's a cycle of uh, a short period of your life where you've gone through some situations, and you've learned a bunch, and you're just worn out and exhausted, and it's time for things to go in a different direction for you, where you're recognizing that some things in your life just don't hold weight anymore. They just don't fit anymore. And it's time to release those different practices, habits, and beliefs. So, just like an adolescent goes into adulthood, and all of a sudden you're expected to, you have certain obligations and responsibilities, maybe you've reached a point in your life where you've realized that the things that you enjoy, you just don't enjoy anymore. Maybe the friends that you've been holding on to for a very long time, you just don't quite vibe the same way. Maybe you have different ideas about the world, or maybe you're experiencing a separation in goals, or your life is just taking you in different ways. It's not even the end of your friendship as much as it is just an acknowledgement that it's time for you to do things differently, to feel differently about something, and to celebrate this in the way that you would celebrate any phase, even when it feels difficult, even when it's hard, even when it's heavy. We can still look at this and say, but this is just a beautiful natural course of things. This is what makes up existence. And yeah, it's tough. It says, I am learning that the endings are merely beginnings. One thing has started to shift for you into the next phase. So perhaps we can look at this more as a celebration, kind of like we celebrate when we bring new life into this world, or we celebrate our adolescents turning into adults, or we celebrate our young adults turning into big older adults and elderly. And even in some cultures where we celebrate that that person has completed a full life cycle and have had all those wonderful experiences and been a part of our life for all of that, we can recognize and celebrate that for us as well, even on these smaller scales. So maybe not the big scale, but there's something that's closing out for you. And the universe wants you to know that this is a natural part of our cycles. So there's something really good about to start happening for you, and it's going to be different. You're going to have to learn all over again. There's some new expectations, some new obligations, but those feelings are going to serve some greater purpose. This is a part of your evolution. So it's really a good thing, and there's nothing to be afraid of at all. Really interesting that right after we talk about the completion of cycles with that death card in the previous video, we have the circle of eternal joy, which is timelessness and the dance of life. Just as with that concept of the cycles completing and beginning anew, and recognizing that while we close out one cycle, we are opening and welcoming into the next cycle. There is this sense of continuity. There's no like definite stop, right? It's not like all of a sudden Everything shuts down, break, close, end scene, and the curtains close, and the lights dim, and it goes black, and then it starts again. It doesn't happen like that, right? So there's times that we feel this sense of grief or longing for the completion. Like as we're leaving this cycle, we're still like, oh, but that was such a good thing. Things were so good there. I really enjoyed that group of friends. I really love that job. I really love that relationship. I'm not ready to let it go, but also things are starting to change, and I'm starting to really feel a sense of, okay, but this isn't bad. I kind of like this. This kind of feels good. And as you become more open and accepting and start to embrace the new things, you start to realize that while you still have those feelings about that previous cycle, they kind of get packaged up neatly in a little bow, and they get stored away in the recesses of your mind, and you're like, yes, this is also true. I also do grieve my teenage years and that group of friends and all the wild and crazy stuff we did. And man, was that funny. My gut still hurts. My face still hurts from laughing at that one thing that my one friend used to do. And I do sometimes long for those periods of time. But also, I've had new experiences that are completely different, in a different way, with different people, in different time, that I laughed just as hard, and my face still hurts from thinking about how absolutely hilarious that was. And just as that's starting to wrap up, I'm starting to have new experiences and new moments. Just as I'm looking back at the cycle that I'm completing, and I'm going, man, I really kind of wish that had lasted longer. I'm also sitting with a new group of people, absolutely just the loudest cut laughter, going, this is wonderful. I love this too. I love this as much as I loved that. It's just maybe in a little bit different way. And after a while, the things kind of start to blend together, and you start to realize that what you're experiencing right now, there's really no sense of time, because all those wonderful things, and even sometimes, yes, those traumas are still so vivid because you did package them up very neatly and store them in your mind. You captured that essence of time and you secured it and locked it in because it meant something to you. It still will mean something to you forever. But there is a continuity in these experiences. You don't see the end of one cycle and the beginning of the next. They kind of flow from one into the next and create this infinite spiraling loop of sorts that is not even a loop. It's not even an infinity. It's like a mobilist strip almost, where it's twisting and turning and folding and evolving into itself, and you're laughing at something that you can even think, man, this group of people that I used to spend time with, they would, if they were here, they would think this is hilarious too. They would be loving this experience, and I wish that they were here. But also, it doesn't take away from the experience that you're having here, and it doesn't diminish the experience that you had here. They're almost layered upon each other. It's like the universe re-experiencing itself in different ways each time. It builds on the last time. So there's this sense of, if if that occurs for me now, I can expect that to continue to occur, because it's happened so many times and looped through so many occasions, and finally I find myself here. So even at this moment where I feel like maybe this time is fleeting also, I can also come to appreciate and value what is coming next, because I know that if it builds on each other, if the layers are there, if the memories are there, if the connections are there, and I still appreciate and value all of that, I'm going to still appreciate and value all of this, even as I move into that next phase and that next cycle. There is a sense of joy is relative to when and whom and how we choose to experience it. But that doesn't diminish or take away from the experiences that we've had. And that certainly doesn't mean that we're never going to have that again. We're going to have that as many times as we're open to it. Matter of fact, sometimes I think it can build because you might be experiencing something and the memories of things that have happened before could enrich that experience, could make you value them even more. Have you ever had a moment happen where you think, if I hadn't been inspired in this situation to do this, that, or the other thing, I would have never made the choices that led me here. So now I'm here and I'm enjoying this, and this is really beautiful. But I also know that it's because I enjoyed this and because this happened that that's possible. All of these experiences that we have add layers of richness to our lives. They add layers of joy. And so it's a never ending cycle. And yes, even the difficult times and the challenges that we have add to those experiences of joy and gratitude that we experience down the road. It's all very valuable. All of your feelings are very valid and very important. And that is why we talk so much about being present in the moment. It's not about obsessing over the past and wishing you could have that again. It's not about worrying about the future and what could possibly happen or not happen. It's about really absorbing everything you can right here because it will be relevant and it will last and it will stay there for you and it will become a part of the future. Thank you so much for being a part of my healing journey and for welcoming me into your journey as well. I hope that we can have conversations sometime. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you transform or transition through one phase of life or another, I'm happy to do so with my life path spiritual guidance. If you have questions about that, please reach out. Much love and blessings to you.